Okay, good morning. Last class, what topic you finished off? So can anyone put a message? Last class, what topic you finished off? I think we finished off with measures of governance, correct? In that measures of governance, we just saw the first point. Am I correct? If you put yes, that will be well and good. So this is the first class. Sorry then. Fifth batch. Okay. Okay, sorry. I just got confused. Okay. Okay, myself is Arun. Okay, handling public administration optional classes and governance mains topic in GS. Okay. Sorry, I thought it was a another batch, so I asked about the classes. So keep in mind, governance is a mains topic. It's entirely focused on mains preparation. So before starting with governance, I just want to ask you some basic questions. Then we focus on governance topic. So can anyone say what is constitution means? Okay, I'm not asking any technical definition. Your understanding of the term constitution. According to you, what is constitution? That's my question. I think the class is going for you, correct? Constitutional classes. That's called polity classes, correct? So can anyone say what is constitution according to you? Your understanding of term constitution. Main body, set of rules. Okay, constitution means set of rules. Then any other aspects apart from this related to constitution? Mother document, okay. Rule book, okay. Rule book. Separation of power. Separation of power. Then any other aspects apart from this? So you already have measures of governance, sir. So any of the extra batches returning? So good governance classes we already saw. Okay. Guide to collective. Just wait a minute. Okay. Still there's a confusion here. What are the batches you're attending? One is batch 5. What is the other batch? Okay, just 5 minutes. We'll finish off this and go for the classes. Batch 5 is attending and batch 4 is attending. For batch 5, it's a first class. Batch 4, it's a second class. Anyone in batch 4, just put what is that we finished off the first class for batch 4? So batch 5, I know it's first class. Okay, your friends has put. What about batch 4? Okay, batch 4, second class. Okay, just wait a minute. I'll just confirm the classes. Okay, just 5 minutes, I'll back. as two batches are being combined here. For batch 4, it's a second class. So for batch 4, today you don't have any class. There is no governance classes right now for you. This session is only for batch 5 because batch 5 is a first class. So batch 5 students, you can attend the session. Batch 4, you can leave the session, no issues, because we are starting with the first classes. Okay. So there was a little confusion in putting the classes. So for batch 4, today you don't have a governance class. Only batch 5 students need to attend this session. Okay. So someone said set of rules, separation of power. Okay. Then any other thing apart from this? So what your understanding of the term constitution apart from this? And collective goals. Okay. Okay. Nature of government, Bible of India. Okay. Framework, how a country should operate. It's a framework. So these are different interpretation of the term constitution, correct? So my question is, how we say it's a set of rules? And please note it down, batch 4 students doesn't need to attend this session. It's only for batch 5. Two batches are combined here. Batch 4, I already took a first class. I'm repeating the first class for batch 5. So batch 4 doesn't need to attend. Okay. So can anyone say how we say constitution is a set of rules? So where is set of rules as per constitution is? Assume that you are running the government. How we say government is based on set of rules. Your understanding, no technical correct answer is required. Your understanding what the set of rules means. Is there any part of a constitution you can identify and say that yes, it's a set of rules on which government need to run? Anything like that? Can you understand my question? Okay, that's great. Someone has put, for example, set of rules means you can relate with directive principles of state policies. From the name itself, we can understand directive principles. Right now, if you're running the government, it's a directive principles on what areas you need to focus on, DPSP. Separation of power, where we can relate separation of power in constitution is anything specifically say it's a separation of power. So for any democracy, there are 4 important institutions, legislature, executive, judiciary, and media. And we are a federation. We have union government, state government. So where we can see the separation of power. Which part of a constitution? Federal setup is okay. Apart from federal setup, any schedule of Indian constitution is a good example for this. Any schedule of Indian constitution. List, correct? What that schedule is? So 1, 2, 3. What is this 1, 2, 3? That's correct. 7th schedule. Okay, 7th schedule of Indian constitution is a good example of separation of power. And similarly, framework. So if you take constitution, it's a framework. So constitution gives the boundary. Anyone can run the government in India, but there is a boundary based on constitution where we can see the boundary of the constitution. Can you understand my question? Assume that you are the Prime Minister of India. It doesn't mean that you can do anything in India. There are some boundaries for you where we can identify the boundaries in constitution. Where we can identify the boundaries of the constitution. Beyond that, you should not go. Even though if you are a Prime Minister, you got the majority, everything. There are some boundaries for the as per the constitution where we can identify that. Fundamental rights is one. Apart from fundamental rights, there is one area you can easily identify the boundaries of the constitution. What are that areas? Just use your common sense, you can easily identify it. One is fundamental rights. Apart from fundamental rights, where you can see that. Where we can see the framework is go for preamble. So preamble, you can easily identify the boundaries, correct? So what are keywords in the preamble? What are keywords in the preamble? Sovereign is one. Apart from sovereign, So does this syllabus also public administration syllabus? Yes, there's overlapping. So integrity, equality, secularism, justice, liberty, fraternity, correct? So these are the boundaries of the constitution. You cannot violate it, correct? Better understanding is, take the example of India-China problem. Right now we have a Ladakh issue, correct? What is the preamble value in that? What is the preamble value in that? When you take Ladakh issue. If you take Ladakh issue, what preamble value can relate it and say to the people, because of this only I'm fighting against Chinese, correct? It's nothing but integrity and sovereignty. The most important thing is sovereignty and integrity also. And what a relationship between governance and constitution is? Governance is nothing but applied area of constitution. So governance is nothing but applied area of constitution. Can you understand the point? Constitution was designed in 1950s. We are in 2021. Lot of changes happening in India. And how that is impacting the constitution and what are changes based on it. Okay, a good example for this is Article 370. Can anyone say what is Article 370? I think 1 or 2 years before this was in news a lot. Article 370. Where Article 370 is related? Where Article 370 is related is regarding Jammu and Kashmir, correct? So there was some special status to Jammu and Kashmir and government revoked Article 370. Can anyone say which constitutional value or which preamble terms is given by the government saying that Article 370 was violating that? Can you understand my question? Can you identify which preamble value? There are some terms in preamble. Government said that, please understand, in preamble we have this term, but Jammu and Kashmir Article 370 was violating it. What are that terms? Not integrity. It's nothing but equality, correct? What union government said is every state is equal. Why we need to have special provision for Jammu and Kashmir? And Article 370, Jammu and Kashmir was, Article 370 was scrapped, Jammu and Kashmir was converted into union territory, correct? So what are the recent current affairs regarding that aspects? Anyone gone through the current affairs? Regarding Jammu and Kashmir, current affairs, anything? Probably that can be a GS polity prelims question. Anyone gone through the current affairs regarding this? Local election is one, apart from Rohini Act is one. So anyone gone through the current affairs regarding Ladakh? Ladakh is demanding a 6th schedule. As per constitution, there is 6th schedule. Ladakh is demanding the recognition under 6th schedule. Go and check what a 6th schedule means. So just go through all these things. Okay. So this is a good example of governance. So Article 370 was right from 1950. Recently it was scrapped. What is the reason behind this? What are those aspects? All comes under governance aspect. Just have a basic understanding. Governance is nothing but closely related with constitution and how constitution applied in present day era, that we can relate with governance. Just basic understanding. We see the definition for governance and all, just for understanding purpose. Okay. Next. Before going to governance topic, we briefly see about India and then go for governance topic because it's a main perspective. So we take India and classify into different criteria. One is historical. Next thing is political, social, economic, and technology. So these are the 5 areas how we can classify India. Okay. First we'll start with historical India. I think history class has started for you, correct? And how history can be divided is, there are classification of history, how it can be divided. History classes, how it is being classified, history classes. Not pre, proto, ancient, medieval, modern. Okay, that classification we can take it right now. Can anyone say what is the unique character of ancient India? Okay, you need to draw a tabular column. Sorry, wait. Unique character. So when you take ancient India, what a unique character about ancient India? Stones. Okay, stones is okay. First point strike your mind. When you say ancient India means what the first point strikes your mind? Varna system is one. Initial stage, no written documents. Okay, tribal society, civilization. What civilization was? That's my question. Ancient India means what the first point strikes your mind. So that's correct. We have this Indus Valley civilization, correct? Ancient India means Indus Valley civilization. Okay. So please switch on your cameras, please, everyone. Let me journal open the screen. So can anyone switch on your cameras, please? I'm not able to find anyone. Okay, switch on your cameras. Okay, thank you. What about the rest of the people, please? Okay, thank you. Only 3 to 4 people. What about the rest? Please switch on your cameras. So if you take this Indus Valley civilization, my point is how that is relevant to modern day India, Indus Valley civilization. Any relevance to modern day India, Indus Valley civilization? Any direct relevance to modern day India, Indus Valley civilization? So please understand this. Someone is saying that, sir, I already thought this topic. Please keep in mind, if you are batch 5, you doesn't need to attend. Batch 4 students, this is the first class, they're attending it. If you are already attend the session, please you can leave the session because this is for batch 4 only. They have combined batch 4 and batch 5. For batch 4 students, this is the session. For batch 5, you will have another session. They will intimate you later. Today is only for batch 4. Someone, if you lately joined, it will be repeat class. Okay. So batch 4 will be repeat class. For batch 5, it's the first class. So keep that in mind. So batch 5 students you can attend. So when you take Indus Valley civilization, yes, correct. Someone has wrong. So batch 4, okay, that's correct. Batch 4 student, you can leave the session. That's it. So Indus Valley civilization, you can relate with urban planning, correct? So what a program in India for that is we call it as smart cities. So even there's a relevance of Indus Valley civilization to modern day India. Similarly, we have Ashoka. Ashoka, the greatest ruler of ancient India. So can anyone say what is the relevance of Ashoka to modern day India? What a link here? 3000 year difference is there, but what is the link here? So what is the link? Can anyone have an idea what is the link of Ashoka to modern day India? Simple way of saying is right now the symbol of Indian democracy. What is the symbol of Indian democracy? When you say Indian democracy means what symbol strikes the mind? You know this Sarnath lion? We see 3 lions as the Indian government symbol, correct? Can I ask you a prelims question in that? Every day we are seeing that symbol, correct? So what are animals in it? Don't say lion. Apart from lion, what are other animals? It's an NCRT. It's there in NCRT. Go and check what are the animals in that particular emblem. Just check it. Okay. So this is regarding ancient India. Next thing is medieval India. So when you say medieval India means what the unique character about medieval India? So medieval India means we can relate with Islam, all those things in India. What the unique character about medieval India? Strikes your mind. First point striking your mind, medieval India. So one is infrastructure. When you say infrastructure means Medieval India, we can relate with, for most important aspect is architecture. So lack of space, I'm writing like this. So medieval India, we can relate with architecture. And one good example of architecture is we have Taj Mahal, correct? How this can be a prelims question? Taj Mahal, how this can be a prelims question? How Taj Mahal can be a prelims question? Anyone gone through like that? They will not directly ask about Taj Mahal, but how it can be a prelims question is that, you know, right now Taj Mahal is facing a biggest problem. What problem is faced by Taj Mahal? Pollution, correct? Acid rains, go and check all those things. That can be environmental question. One is architecture, another is Mughal. The greatest ruler or emperor during Mughal time was Akbar. Can anyone say why he was called the Great? Why Akbar was called the Great? Any reason behind this? There are so many Mughal emperors, but we call Akbar the Great. The reason is he was considered to be more secular. That's a major reason. Okay. So these are some of the important characters of medieval India. Modern day India. Whose arrival marks the birth of modern day India? Ancient India, medieval India, modern day India. Whose arrival marks the, not Britishers. It's wrong, not Britishers. It's nothing but the arrival of Portuguese. When Portuguese was the first European to come to India, British was the last. So what a contribution of British to India? Contribution of British to India. Can anyone say what is the contribution of British to India? Judiciary is one, apart railways. The basic thing is Britishers was responsible for infrastructures. Britishers created most of our infrastructures. Please understand, infrastructure means it's not only about railways. They created postal networks, telegram. All these are created by Britishers, correct? The next thing is education. That's correct. They have Western education in India, education system. Even we can relate with administration. So what we have, modern day India administration is given by Britishers, correct? Simple way of understanding is Indian civil service transformed into Indian administrative service. We just changed the name. Indian civil service was the name during British time, and we changed it into Indian administrative service. The same institution, same characters, all those things, correct? So this is historical India. And please understand, we are not taking all the important characters. We are just, for example perspective, we are taking two characters in these areas. So when you say historical India means for thousands of years, Indian history is there. Next thing is political level. All this from political to technology is regarding modern day India. So can anyone say regarding political system of India what the unique character? Indian political system, what the unique character? Indian political system, what the unique character is? Democracy. What type of democracy we are? That's the most important thing. What type of democracy we are? Democracy are different types, correct? What type is the democracy? Indian democracy. That's correct. Parliamentary democracy. India is a parliamentary democracy. Another type is presidential type, correct? And which country is a good example of presidential type? USA is a good example of presidential type. So just note it down on your side. I'm just giving a term. After the classes, you just Google and find presidentialization of Indian elections. Just write it on your side. Presidentialization of Indian elections. This is a criticism about Indian elections. Go and check what this term is. Presidentialization of Indian elections. Criticism of Indian election. Negative aspect of Indian election, go and check. It's against the parliamentary democracy. Presidentialization of Indian elections. So presidential democracy is one, parliamentary democracy is one. India is a good example of parliamentary democracy. And similarly, so India is called as largest democracy. Can anyone say why India is called as largest democracy? Why India is called as largest democracy? Whereas US is called as strongest democracy. But India is called as largest democracy. Can you say why? Population is not a biggest factor. Population is there, but what is the primary reason? What is the primary reason why India is called as largest democracy? Due to diversity, big size of constitution, anyone can write it. Even, Sri Lanka can write for thousands of pages. That's not the criteria. Universal franchise, that is one, that's a secondary factor. Millions of people are voting, that's a secondary factor. What the primary factor? India is called as largest democracy. Please understand, one of the reasons, it has millions of representatives. We have MP, MLA, and the last one is the most important thing, local government. We have millions of representatives, correct? So what are recent current affairs regarding local government? What are recent current affairs regarding local government? Apart from UPSC, this can be questioned in any other examinations. If you are writing bank examinations or any other examination you write, they can ask you the question, what are the recent current affairs? I can also give a clue. State of Kerala. In state of Kerala, there was a recent current affairs regarding local government. Anyone able to identify that current affairs? It's nothing but the age of 21, someone became a mayor. By age of 21, someone has become a mayor, correct? Go and check the personality name. If you're writing any bank examination or any other examination, they can ask you the question. Probably in UPSC, they will not ask. But all other examination, they can ask. Go and check what is the personality name. By the age of 21, a woman became a mayor in Kerala. Okay. So largest democracy, why does largest democracy is millions of representatives, especially at the local level. That is panchayat level and municipalities. Next thing, India is a federation. So federation means sharing of powers, union government and state government. That's correct. Arya Rajendran, that's correct. And if you take federation, please keep in mind, federation includes union government and state government. Union territory is not part of federation. Can you understand the point? Union territory is not part of federation, it's part of union government. If you are writing any answer in polity, federal relations, center-state relations, never include union territories. The reason is, if you see the recent current affairs, there is always a tussle in union territories. Fight between chief minister and lieutenant governor. Don't take that as a federal issue. Union territory is part of union government. You can write as a last point, but not as a first point. Keep that in mind. Federation includes union government and state government. Union territory is part of union government. So federation is another important character. Next thing is multi-party system. India is a multi-party system, correct? So when you say multi-party system means, can anyone say how you identify a party as a national party? So what is the criteria based on which you identify a party as a national party? MPs, leave out MPs. It's not MPs. Please understand, I am asking from Indian democracy perspective, or very precise, based on election commission criteria. How election commission identify a party as a national party? Anyone have an information? Should be recognized party in at least 4 states. Established here? No. Please understand, you all get into a trap if it's a prelims question. What is the criteria for national party? Please go and check election commission website. What is the criteria for national party? What are the criteria for state party? This can be a prelims question. Can you understand? So don't have your own assumption what is a national party. There is some criteria given by election commission. Go and check it. Okay. The next thing is social dimensions. Please understand, I'm giving only the hint. I'm not giving the information. You need to do a basic research on it. Okay. So I'm just giving the hint. What are the extra informations you need to study? Just go and study all those things when you're free. Next thing is social dimensions. First and foremost thing that's correct in Indian society is based on caste system. So India is based on caste system, correct? Can anyone say how US society is based on? India is based on caste. How US society is based on? So what is the social hierarchy in US? It's based on race. white and black. What about UK society? How UK society is based on? India is based on caste, US is based on race. What about UK society? Feudalism. It's not feudalism. US is based on class. UK is based on class type. Working class and capitalist. UK. India is based on caste system. Next thing is, so India is also a place of religion. So India is also a place of religion. Can anyone say what are the religions originate in India? So what are religions originate in India? Religions in India. Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, correct? Apart from the Sikhism, that's correct. Okay. Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism. So India is also a place of religion. So many religions originate in India, correct? Can I say in global level, which city is important for religion in global level? Which city is important for religion in global level? Rome, Vatican, okay. Mecca. Please understand, one important city is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is an important city, even it's called as religious capital of the world. What is religious capital of the world? There are three religions associated with this. One is Christianity, Islam and Judaism. Like that, India is also a place of religion. Okay. So before going to this aspect of religion, all those things, right now in foreign policy, there's a term called hard power. Can anyone say what is hard power in foreign policy? Just common sense. Right now in foreign policy, what is hard power means? Hard power. It's nothing but use of military might. That's called hard power. Okay. My question is, right now in world level, which country is showing their hard power? Showing the military might and influencing the other country. Which country is doing this a lot? China is right now using it. Who's the traditional one? Who's the traditional player in that arena? So US is a good example. North Korea is a good example. And China is a classic example right now using the hard power. My question is India hard power? Is India hard power? No. Okay. Yes. India is a soft power. No. Okay. No soft power. And please understand, does not harm anyone. No soft power. Okay. This is our perception. India is not a hard power. But reality is, India is also hard power. Can you give examples for this? How India is a hard power? A good example for India as a hard power is recent examples. What are recent examples of India as a hard power? Showing its military might. So saying that, okay, we are also a military might, don't disturb us. And what a recent example of India as a hard power is? One is, good example, recent one is Ladakh crisis. Right now we have this Ladakh issue, India-China. Similarly, Doklam crisis. Go and check all these things. What is this Doklam crisis is? Doklam crisis, Ladakh crisis, surgical strike. And can you say with which country we went for surgical strike? Two countries we went for surgical strike. What are those two countries? One is Pakistan and Myanmar. Not China. Please understand, with China we never went for surgical strike. My question is, surgical strike with Pakistan is very tough. Can you say why? Very dangerous. It's not tough, very dangerous. Can you say why? Surgical strike against Pakistan is very dangerous. Can you say why? The main reason is India and Pakistan is a nuclear power. Going for surgical strike is a dangerous one. This clearly shows a hard power. We are ready to make hard decisions. And classic example of India hard power was 1971. What is 1971? Is creation of Bangladesh. 47 we got our independence. By 1971 we created a new country. The opposite of hard power is soft power. Can anyone say what is soft power means? What is soft power means? Can anyone say what is soft power? Diplomacy is a job. It's not soft power. Okay, pacifying with treaties like Japan, Maldives, only through negotiation. Okay. What is soft power means? Okay, how you use your cultural might. How you use your cultural might to influence the people, that is called soft power. A good example for this thing is, can anyone say India's soft power? What is it? Because India's soft power. We can influence other countries based on our cultural might. What is it? Yoga. That's correct. So yoga is a good example of soft power. Can you say who's a famous personality because of yoga? So can anyone say who's the famous personality because of yoga? I'm saying in global level. So one is the Isha Yoga is there. Apart from Isha Yoga, who are the other ones? BKS Iyengar is one. The most important personality right now in present day era is our Prime Minister. Prime Minister is very famous across the world for yoga. Okay. And Osho is there. I think Osho is not related to yoga. Ramdev. Just check all these things. And when is the International Yoga Day? When is the International Yoga Day? 21st is okay. Which month is that? June 21st, correct? Can anyone say why it's June 21st? Why it's not March, April, July, August? Why it's June 21st? Any reason behind it? Longest day of the year. That's correct. Okay. So yoga is one such soft power. Why I'm discussing all this thing is, please understand, Buddhism is also a soft power. So in India, Buddhism originated and we are able to influence lot of countries based on Buddhism. Please go and check Nalanda University. Just note it on your site. Nalanda University. Nalanda University. Just note it on your site. Just go and check what is this Nalanda University. Just Google it. You get all the informations. A good example of soft power of India, Buddhism. Nalanda University. And another most important thing about Indian society is diversity. So India is a diverse society, correct? There are so many diversity. Geographical diversity is there, cultural diversity is there, correct? To understand the geographical diversity, question is where we can find the deserts in India? Where we can find the deserts in India? Rajasthan, correct? So if you're saying Rajasthan, please understand you're getting into a trap. In India, desert, we have warm desert and cold desert. Rajasthan is a warm desert. And which place is considered to be the cold desert? Ladakh is a cold desert. So if that is any question regarding desert in India, you should not write only Rajasthan. You also need to relate with Ladakh. This shows the diversity of India, geographically, correct? Even we have deserts in two extremes, warm deserts and cold deserts. Similarly, cultural diversity is very high, correct? Take example of language. India has so many languages. That's clearly show the diversity of India. That's a unique character. Okay. The next thing is economy. So what about Indian economy? Unique character about Indian economy. When you say Indian economy means what strikes the mind? Indian economy. I'm asking about the positive thing. First one is mixed economy. Indian economy says a mixed economy. Both public players and private players play a role. That's called mixed economy. Then apart from this, fastest growing economy, correct? That's correct. India is the fastest growing economy. And there's a recent current affairs regarding this. I think yesterday's current affairs, anyone gone through that? Yesterday's current affairs regarding this particular term, fastest growing economy. Who gave a report? Anyone gone through that? Who gave a report? Some international organization gave a report stating that by 2021, Indian economy is going to be the fastest growing economy, 11% GDP growth. Can anyone say which gave that report? It's given by IMF, not World Economic Forum. It's given by IMF, World Economic Outlook. Just go and check all these things. This can be a prelims question. World Economic Outlook, a report given by IMF, which says that Indian economy is going to grow by 11%. Fastest growing economy. Only few countries have this tag, fastest growing economy. So for last 10 years, for example, that grouping is called as BRICS. Fastest growing economy. What does BRICS means? Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. These countries are considered to be the fastest growing economy, where GDP growth is above 7 to 8%. Can you say in global level, which are the developed economies? India is a developing economy. Which is a developed economy in global level? One is USA. Apart from USA, Canada is there. Okay. China is a developing economy. Please understand. UK, France, China is a developing economy. Can you say in Asia continent, which economy is considered to be a developed economy? Asia continent. Japan. So can anyone say what is the Japanese GDP growth? Any idea? India is around 7 to 8% on an average. Can anyone say what's Japanese GDP growth? Some approximate numbers, 2%. Much lesser than India, we know what that value is. 3%, 2 to 3, almost 0. Okay. Please understand, 30 years. Okay. Almost 0 for 30 years. Okay. Please understand, Japanese economic growth, if it's good year, means 0.1%. Can you understand the point? Japanese economy grow only by 0.1%, whereas Indian economy grow by 7 to 8%. That is the reason you can see that all big projects in India is funded by Japanese. So what are projects funded by Japanese? All big projects in India. Can you list out what are projects funded by Japanese in India? Japan is putting money in Indian projects. What are those projects? Example is bullet train, metros, correct? Because their economy never grows. Their economy is saturated. Whereas Indian economies has the ability to grow well. So fastest growing economy. And next thing is, so Indian economy is dominated by service sectors. Indian economy is dominated by service sectors. And please understand, this can also be a prelims question. Can anyone say, in GDP, what is agricultural contribution in GDP, Indian economy? Out of 100 rupees, how many rupees is contributed by agriculture in our GDP? Any idea? 18%, 15%, 40 is very high, 20 is very high. Please understand, minus 30 is wrong. Please understand, all this will be in economic survey. There will be a data called economic survey. There will be a class for you. Just check that data. That will be a prelims question. So Indian economy, these are some unique characters. Next thing is technology. So can we say where we mastered a technology? In which areas we have mastered a technology, or we are global trendsetters? So one aspect is we are global trendsetter in space. Space, India is a global trendsetter, correct? So a good example for this thing is how we can say that in space, India is a global trendsetter. Mangalyaan is one, then Chandrayaan is there, correct? Another most important achievement is low-cost launcher, that's correct. One important achievement is, can anyone say in one launch vehicle, how many satellites we have put in outer space, any idea? In one launch vehicle. By sending one rocket, how many satellites we have put in outer space? Not 97, it is around 103 or 104. I think 2 days before SpaceX has put around 140 satellites, but India has put around 104 satellites. Okay, this clearly shows their achievement in space. Apart from this, Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan, all are good examples. Space, we are the masters. Similarly, defense. So defense also we are the masters. There are certain areas where we are global trendsetter in defense. A good example for this thing is LCA. Can anyone say what is LCA? LCA, or popularly we call it as Tejas. What does LCA means? LCA means light combat aircraft. Indigenously made. We are manufacturing a fighter aircraft in India. Light combat aircraft, correct? Similarly, INS Arihant. INS Arihant. What is INS Arihant? Any idea? What is INS Arihant? Any idea about this? That's a nuclear submarine, correct? I think only 6 or 7 countries have the capabilities to manufacture a nuclear submarine. India is one such country, INS Arihant. And similarly, we have BrahMos. So these are certain areas that we have mastered. So defense is the area where we have mastered and we are global trendsetter. And finally, we have pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical. We are mastered in vaccine manufacturing. Recently, we saw it, correct? So these are some of the areas where we have mastered. Please understand, in IT sector, we are not masters. So we are just nothing but cut, copy, paste in IT sector. We have largest workforce, but we are not innovating anything there. Okay, IT sector is more about cut, copy, paste. What is BrahMos means? It's missiles, BrahMos missiles. Just check all these terms, all you have prelims questions. So any clarification in this slide? Anyone not able to understand any single term? Ask me, I'll explain it. So just go through that. Any clarification in this slide? So any clarification in these slides? You're not able to understand a term in this, I'll explain it. So brief about DPSP. What is DPSP means? Right now in the Indian constitution, we call it as Directive Principles of State Policies. Assume that you are a Prime Minister or Chief Minister. If you want to create a law in India, or if you want to create a policy in India, that directions will be given by the constitution under Directive Principles of State Policies. So DPSP will give a guideline how to make a law, what should be the policies made. That's called DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies. Okay. Any other clarifications apart from this? All the laws in India, what we are making, we can relate with DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies. Any other clarification or any doubts? Shall we go for the next one? If you put yes, I'll go for the next slide. Shall we go for the next one? Okay, yes. So next thing is with the same tabular column, just maintain it with the same tabular column. We go for the next one. Next thing is problems. Sorry. Same tabular column. First we'll start with historical dimensions. Please understand, India is a geographical entity. India is a geographical entity. We are existing for thousands of years. But democracy is only 70 years in India, correct? So that creates some historical clashes. Can you say what are those clashes? Can you understand my question? India is a geographical entity. It's existing for thousands of years. Himalayas, Indus. So it creates a boundary, and India as a society was existing for thousands of years. But a democracy is a new concept for India. Only in 1950 we have the democracy. My question is how it creates trouble in a society. Caste system is already there. That's okay. Caste system is there. Then apart from caste system, conflicts between kings. King is not required. I'm asking about modern day India. We are in 2021. How this historical India and modern day India results in problems. Boundary issues is there. Okay, boundary issue is there. Then apart from this, power of government and people. Okay, then Nagaland, Bodo in rural areas. Okay, Nagaland issue. Okay, nation state making. Okay, I'll just ask very basic one. Right now there's a term called generation gap. Correct? Generation gap. Now personal life. Generation gap. With whom we use this term generation gap? Now personal life, with whom we use this term generation gap? Especially with parents and grandparents. Grandparents, we use this term generation gap, correct? Can you say in which situation we use this term generation gap? We think, okay, so generation gap, we can't do anything. In what situation is like that? For example, technology, clothing, correct? Social mindset, that's correct. Okay, using mobile phones is another good example. Ideology, social views. Take example right from dressing. Or if you are a guy, right from haircut. Is that in Indian family, spike is allowed? Can you have a spike haircut and go to an Indian family? Take example, you're going for a marriage, having a spike and beard with different colors and all, can you go? Literally, they take you out and give you huge advice, correct? Go and have a proper haircut and come back, correct? Similarly, use of mobile phones. That is a generation gap. What is generation gap is timing of mobile phones. Is that mobile phones can be used at any time in our family, any Indian conservative families. So assume that it's night 10 or 11 o'clock. Can you get a call in your mobile, 10 or 11? You are sitting with the family, phone rings by 10, 11 or 11:30. And your mother sees the mobile and there's a name on that mobile, opposite sex. So what will be the reaction of the mother? The mother will be happy. Okay, hey, take a call. There is a girl calling you. Or what will be the reaction of the mother for this? Literally, you see that, correct? After the call, there will be a lot of inquiry against you. Similarly, watching movies. Is it possible to watch all movies? Is it possible to watch all movies? Take example, there's a Tamil movie called OK Kanmani, correct? There's a Tamil movie called OK Kanmani. What is the basic storyline of that OK Kanmani is? So what is the basic storyline of OK Kanmani? It's nothing but living relationship, correct? Hero, heroine, they never marry, but they'll have the same space and they'll be there, correct? That's nothing but the concept of living relationship. Assume that you are sitting and watching that movie. What will be the reaction of the parents for it? Literally, they get irritated, correct? Why you are watching this movie? Just shut it out and go and do some other thing. Why I'm asking all these things is generation gap is, especially in the concept of marriage in India. Who's the deciding authority in marriages? Who's the deciding authority in marriages? Right now, you want to get married. Who's the deciding factor? Please understand, you are not deciding. Who's the deciding factor in that? Not only father, please understand, determined by your parents. And if you have elder siblings, either brother and sister, they play a key role in it. Apart from that, your relatives, you will be given only information. What that information is? Okay, there's a person which suits you and we fix the date, you just come on that date. Take an example, right now you're going for a love marriage. What will happen in India? If you are saying to your family that I'm going to marry this person, what will happen to you? What will be the reaction of the father? What will be the reaction of the father? Is that father happy? Comes and hugs you and say that, okay, I'm very happy that you reduced my work. You find your life partner, say the date, I'll come and attend the marriage. Or what will be the reaction of the father for it, correct? Father instantly go and shut the door and there'll be a WWF, correct? He gives an instant justice for you. So what will be the reaction of the mother for this? What will be the reaction of the mother? The mother will be always crying at you, correct? Whenever she sees you, she cries at you. Why you are doing like this? How this results in Indian system right now is what we call it as honor killings. The concept of marriage in India, if someone has made their own decisions to protect the honor of the family, caste or village, people are being killed. And can you say who is the person involving in that? Who is the person involved in it? In honor killing, who is the person involved in it? Especially this happens against the either bride or bridegroom. Who is the person involved in it? Please understand, the family members, close relatives. Either it can be a father, brother, brother-in-law, some close relatives involved in this type of crimes, correct? Which states are very famous for honor killing? Which states are very famous for honor killing? UP, Tamil Nadu, please understand, entire India is famous for it. Not only one specific state. Not UP, even in Tamil Nadu, other states also we have honor killing issues. Honor killing is a problem of historical dimensions, correct? For thousands of years, marriages means decisions taken by family members. But suddenly, the individual taking decisions about marriages, correct? Can anyone say which fundamental rights promise you to make your own decisions? Can you identify which fundamental right is that? Article 21. What is Article 21 is? Right to life and liberty. That liberty includes to choose your life partner. This results in historical problem, honor killing. Similarly, Kap Panchayats. Kap Panchayats. Please understand, Kap Panchayat is very different from Democratic Panchayat. Democratic Panchayat is accepted in India. Kap Panchayat is an illegal institution. Mostly the elders will be part of Kap Panchayat saying that they want to protect the society's culture. So they are part of Kap Panchayat, and in every state we have Kap Panchayat. So Kap Panchayat is also biggest historical problem. Okay. And finally, child marriages is another historical problem. Child marriages. Child marriages. So can you say which child will be highly impacted because of this marriages? Girl child or boy child? Who get the biggest impact? Child marriages. Girl child, can you say why? Why girl child get the biggest impact? So what girl child is compromising in her life because of this marriage? Not widow. Why extremely you're going? It's not widow. Please understand, she is compromising her education. Apart from education, what are the next thing she is compromising is? Please understand her health also, correct? And most of the time, girl child is not physically and emotionally mature to have a family and especially to have a kid. And in child marriages, ultimately that results in what we call as IMR and MMR, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate. So child marriage is another biggest problem in India, historical reasons, correct? And especially during this corona pandemic, there are some news saying that child marriages are happening during this corona pandemic because as per corona guidelines, number of people need to attend the marriage is very less, financial stress, and especially in rural areas, there's the biggest problem. Can I say in which state child marriage is the biggest headache? Can I say in which state child marriage is the biggest headache? Every state we have a problem, but which states are very famous for it? So Rajasthan, MP, okay. And especially in tribal societies, Rajasthan is very famous for it, and tribal societies, and mostly North India, even in South India also we have it. So these are historical problems. Next thing is political dimensions. So when you say political dimensions, what are problems in Indian political system? Indian political system, what are problems? So can you say what are problems in our Indian political system? EVM is not a, I'm asking major one. Going party to party is one. Criminalization of politics, that's correct. Criminalization of politics. One of the biggest problem in Indian system is criminalization of politics. Criminal entering into political system. That's called criminalization of politics. Right now, what is happening in Tamil Nadu politics? Okay, a good example for this, Tamil Nadu politics. Right now, who came out of jail right now in Tamil Nadu? Probably she will be part of that party and all. Right now, a huge discussion is going on, correct? Okay. That's correct. Someone has rightly put, it's not Sasikala, it's Chinnamma. Okay. Right now in Tamil Nadu, right from Amma, we are moving to Chinnamma. Okay. Fate of Tamil Nadu is like this. So criminalization of politics is one of the biggest problem in our political system. And apart from, someone has also rightly put communal politics. Communal politics. So when you say communal politics means use of religion and caste for politics. That's called communal politics. That's not a good way of running a democracy. You should not run the political system based on religion or caste. And which states are very famous for this communal politics? Which state are very famous for communal politics? Using religion as a domain for party system, correct? Every state is there, but the most visible one is Even in this Republic Day parade, you know UP, every state need to showcase their unique culture, correct? And what the UP have done is they have put Ram temple as a model in that Republic Day parade, not yet constructed, correct? So UP is a good example. So communal politics is another problem. And next thing is dynasty politics. Next biggest problem in our Indian political system is dynasty politics. So when you say dynasty politics, which party is a good example for this, dynasty politics? Which party is a good example of dynasty politics? So right, BJP is not a dynasty politics, correct? In Tamil Nadu, it can be DMK, and national level, a good example is Congress, correct? Can you say in Congress when the dynasty politics started? Dynasty politics means family members entering into political system, correct? In Congress, when it all started, not Nehru. Nehru is based on merit. It's based on Indira Gandhi. Right from Indira Gandhi, after Indira Gandhi, there came Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi. Right now we have Rahul Gandhi. Who may be the next one is? Who may be the next one? Probably who may be the next one to head the Congress? Right now we have Rahul Gandhi. Next is Priyanka Gandhi. After Priyanka Gandhi, who will be the next one in Congress to head Priyanka Gandhi? Who is the next one? No, it's not no more. Please understand. Priyanka Gandhi got a son and daughter. Probably they will be the next one to head the Congress. So dynasty politics in Congress is well established. Right from kindergarten, they have the leadership. Probably her son will be around 6th or 7th standard. For Congress, that's not a problem. Similarly, every state we have dynasty politics. Tamil Nadu is a good example. UP is another good example. Every state we have dynasty politics. So dynasty politics means family members entering into political system not based on merit. It's not based on merit. Just because of bloodline, someone is entering into political system. Okay. So that is one. The next thing is social dimensions. Because of caste, one of the biggest problem in India is untouchability. Untouchability is the biggest problem. Can anyone say recently what profession is a good example of untouchability? There is one profession in India, good example of untouchability. Can anyone say what is that profession? Even government made a law for it. Manual scavenging. Just note it down. Untouchability, manual scavenging. Right now in India still we have this issue of manual scavenging. Apart from this, in southern states we have this two-tumbler system. Just note it down. Two-tumbler system. Two-tumbler system. If you go for tea shops in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu and all, there will be two tumblers. Based on caste, they issue the tumblers. So two-tumbler system is there. Manual scavenging is a good example of untouchability. And next thing is communal tensions. Communal tensions. So there is always a religious tensions in India. Okay, that always happens, communal tensions. And apart from this, India is also male-dominated system. India is also a good example of male-dominated system. So where we can see this male-dominated system in Indian society? In which institution we can see this? In which institution we can see that, okay, India is a male-dominated system. Army is there. Family is very visible. Apart from family, you can also see that priest. Political system is a good example, correct? In Indian politics, we can see that is always dominated by male. Can you list out some of the women politicians in India? Women politicians in India. Only very handful, correct? Who are the women politicians in India? Jayalalitha was one. Apart from Jayalalitha, Nirmala Sitharaman is one, Mamta Banerjee is one, Mayawati is one, correct? Sonia Gandhi. So recently what happened in West Bengal? Okay, I think last week, what happened in West Bengal? There was some issue happening in West Bengal. Anyone gone through that issue? Kanimoli is one, correct? So there was a Netaji celebration, correct? So what happened there? In Netaji celebration, something happened in West Bengal. Anyone gone through that news article? Not related to UPSC. Probably this can be an interview question. So what happened there is when Mamta Banerjee was going to speak, suddenly BJP supporters shouted Jai Sri Ram or something, and she literally got irritated. And in the meeting itself, in that mic itself, she said that it is a public, it's a government function. Why you are behaving like this? And you are calling me and disrespecting me. And she said that I will not speak. And who is sharing the stage there? Who is sharing the stage there? Chief Minister is there, but who is the other one? Other one is the Prime Minister. It's a government function. Our Chief Minister outrightly said that I am not going to speak. That was an uproar in India. How in government function a Chief Minister in front of Prime Minister can say that I will not speak, correct? But my question is, why women politicians are like this? Not only Mamta Banerjee. Go and check Jayalalitha, go and check Mayawati. Why they seems to be arrogant? For outsiders seems to be arrogant, correct? Or they are more authoritative. Can you say why? Why they are like this? This is also once an interview question in UPSC. Why women politician in India seems to be arrogant? Or not arrogant, why they seems to be more authoritative, correct? So why they want to do that? Why they want to do that? They'll be put down by men. Easily they get stamped on, okay. Moral support majorly, otherwise they'll be pressed. That's correct. The real reason is it's entirely dominated by male. So what you need to do is you need to behave like a male. So then only you can sustain in politics, correct? Yeah, good way of understanding this is in Tamil Nadu how Jayalalitha will treat the ministers. Any idea? Right now she is no more. But how she treats the ministers in Tamil Nadu? Any idea? If you are from Tamil Nadu, you can see that. What ministers need to do in Tamil Nadu? If Jayalalitha is alive as a chief minister, correct? They bend 90 degrees, not bend 90 degrees. They'll be 0 degree only, correct? They'll be lying on the floor. Okay. Okay, minister's spinal cord was bent. Okay, that's correct. So you can see that how ministers in Tamil Nadu during Jayalalitha time, correct? They need to touch her feet. They'll lie on the floor, correct? There's nothing but she need to be more authoritative because entirely dominated by males. If they feel that she is soft, she cannot survive. So they have that characters. Very authoritative and very dominating. Tamil Nadu, after classes, go and check in Google. Chief Minister, Jayalalitha and ministers. You see the images, you can see a lot of images like that, correct? So that's their reason. Okay, there's an interview question in UPSC also. So male dominated system, that's another biggest problem in India. Next, economy. So can I say what are problems in Indian economy? Our chief minister is an extreme case. Okay. So our chief, Jayalalitha is the exception, that's it. Okay, what are the problems in Indian economy? Right now, what are problems we are facing? Rich-poor divide. Okay. What we call it as income inequality. Income inequality. Another current affairs is, how many of you read the recent Oxfam report? I think 2 days before, Oxfam report regarding this coronavirus. Anyone read that? Oxfam report. Just note it down. If you didn't read it, just go through it. It's take hardly 10 minutes. So what this Oxfam report is, because of corona pandemic, they find out what is the impact on Indian society. They said that rich Indians, right now in India, rich Indians wealth improved 35%. So the wealth of rich Indians is increased a lot when compared with poor Indians. They even say that with this 35% wealth improvement, they can spend for 10 years Ministry of Health and Family Welfare expenditures. Can you understand my point? During this corona time, the rich Indians' wealth improved by 35%. With that 35%, government's Ministry of Health and Family expenditure can meet for 10 years. That's a wealth improvement. Income inequality in India is very high. Rich-poor divide. Okay. Next thing is deficits. Next thing is deficit. There are two types of deficit. One is fiscal deficit. What does fiscal deficit means? When your expenditure is more when compared with revenue. That's called fiscal deficit. When your expenditure is more when compared with revenue, that's called fiscal deficit. I'm just giving you added information. Go and check this FRBM Act. This can be economic question in GS. FRBM Act. Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act. Just check this. FRBM. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. It's not related to governance, just giving you added information. Just check after the classes when you're free. FRBM Act related to deficit. And similarly, there's another deficit called current account deficit. Current account deficit. What does current account deficit means? When your import is more when compared with export. When your import is more when compared with export, we call it as current account deficit. So this is regarding deficit. And what are the recent current affairs regarding Indian economy? Anyone gone through it last 1 week? Some news is happening regarding banking sector. Anyone gone through that current affairs regarding banking sector? Banking sector current affairs. Not NBFC issues. There is something related to banking sector. Zero revenue deficit, NBFCs, big industries to convert it to banks. That's not there. I'm asking from problems in Indian banks. I don't know how many of you checked this news article. NPAs. Non-performing assets. NPS means non-performing assets. Can anyone say what is this NPA means? NPS, or popular we call it as bad loans. NPAs are popularly called as bad loans. When a loan will be called as a bad loan? Any idea? When a loan will be called as a bad loan? Right now you are a bank manager. When you identify a loan as a bank loan, bad loan. So 90 days. For 90 days, if interest and principal is not paid, that is considered to be an NPA. Can anyone say what the value of NPA in the Indian economy? I'm just giving facts. Don't get panicked if you're not knowing it, just to understand the gravity of issue. Can anyone say what is the value of NPA in Indian economy? Right now they say that the value is around 33 lakh crore. Right now this is the bad loans in India, 33 lakh crore. That is a bad loan in India for banks. Go and check KV Kamath committee. I'm just giving extra information. KV Kamath. Just check this KV Kamath committee. KV Kamath committee. Just check all these things regarding this issue. So this is regarding economy. Next thing is regarding technology. So when you say technology, what about Indian system? Why we are not innovators? Except few areas, most of the other areas, India is not innovators. Can you say why? Why India is not innovators in most of the areas? Low budget allocation. Okay, first one is we can put lack of R&D. So in India, we are not spending money for R&D. That can be a reason. Okay, one is lack of R&D. So most of the time what we do is we go for copycat. Copycat is a term. What is copycat? Means someone have done a research and development. We just copy that. That's called copycat. So lack of R&D is one major reason. And apart from this, the major problem in India why we are not innovator is poor education system. Poor education system. What is poor education system is my basic question is, in our schools, what we are trained for? Think of your school days. What we are trained for? Is that we are trained for innovators, or what the primary reason for? Marks is one. Apart from marks, can you say who designed our education system? Who designed our education system? Please understand, the education system in India was designed by Britishers. Can anyone say what is the intention of British education system in India? Why they create an education system in India? To rule. And another major reason why they created education system is to produce clerks. For their administration, they want clerks. For that, they created the education system. How we can understand this? Think of your school days. My question is there any way can you write your own answer and get the marks in school days? That's a question. You write your own answer. But the answer is correct. Is that mark will be given, or what will be the reply of the staff, teacher for that? What teacher will say is, in CBSE it may be correct, in CBSE it may be, but most of the government schools and all. So what will be the reply of the staff is, go and show to the staff, ma'am, I have written the same answer in my own words as not in book. What will be the reply of the staff for that particular thing is? The staff will say is, I'll give only the mark what you have written as per the book. So what happens is, we should not think. Another question is, can we ask questions with the staffs in schools? Right now a topic is being taken. Can you go on and ask the question with the staff continuously for 10 questions, 15 questions regarding the topic? What will be the reply of the staff for that thing is? Staff will get irritated, correct? Thinking that, okay, you are smart, you are asking too many questions. So we should not question the authority. So ultimately you can see that in India, we have a clerical mindset. Lack of education is another biggest problem. Why we are not innovators, correct? And finally, last one, lack of ecosystem. Lack of ecosystem. What is lack of ecosystem means? Right now in India, the system is not designed for innovation. A good way of understanding is, I think there's a movie called Social Networking. I don't know how many of you know watch this movie. Social Networking is about Mark Zuckerberg. And how he created Facebook? Any idea how he created Facebook? Can anyone say how he created Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg? How he created Facebook? Please understand, it's not about he hired an office and thought about creating a Facebook. While he was in college, he developed an algorithm. He just took the photos from the database of the college by hacking that database and asked his friends to compare who's good-looking girls. Within a night, the server got crashed because everyone was playing the game. My question is, if the same thing you have done in India, what will happen to you? Assume that you are like Mark Zuckerberg and you have done the same thing in India. What will happen to you? Is that they will accept you, or what will happen to you if you have done the same thing? First thing is they'll throw you out of the college. Second thing, a case will be filed. Third one, in police station, all unsolved cases will be against you. Because the inspector will say that Thambi is the expert. He's an expert in computers. Take all unsolved cases, put against him. So you know that what will happen in India. But what happened in US is they saw the potential of the project and asked Mark Zuckerberg to make it as a commercial project. Even some of the staffs in that university invested money in his project. That's called ecosystem. Right now in India, for innovation, we don't have ecosystem. So all these are problems in India. So any clarification in this? Any clarification or doubts in this? Any term you are not able to understand, just go through it. Any time you are not able to understand. Okay, shall I go for the next slide? If put yes, I'll go for the next one. Kap Panchayat means, please understand, there's a term called Panchayat in India. There are two types of Panchayat. One is democratic Panchayat. Right now, what elections happen in Kerala, that's called democratic Panchayat. Kap Panchayat means in a society, few elders think themselves they want to preserve the culture. So they create this Kap Panchayat. Okay, that's a negative aspect. Even Supreme Court said that we should not have Kap Panchayat. Kap Panchayat is a negative concept. Okay. Kap Panchayat also results in what we call it as moral policing, also called as moral policing. What does moral policing means? I think you are able to remember these news articles, correct? So what is the important day coming in the month of Feb? Important day coming in the month of Feb. Most of you will be busy also, correct? What that day is? It's budget. Okay, you are still in UPSC mindset only, correct? Okay, please come out of it. You have your social life, enjoy it. Okay, I don't know whether you belong to Tamil Nadu or not. In Tamil Nadu, there is a movie of Rajinikanth, correct? I think Padayappa, where there is one character of Neelambari sitting inside and watching that marriage CD or that thing for the entire life. Like that, don't sit and read books a lot. I'm asking about Feb 14th, Valentine's Day, correct? And you can see sometimes in news articles, especially in news and all, there will be some people going and asking people to tie the knots. Even some movies are made out of it, correct? That's called moral policing. They say that you are lovers, marry in front of us. All this happens, correct? That's called moral policing. Kap Panchayat is a negative concept. Moral policing is also a negative concept. Okay. So any clarification apart from this? Okay. Shall we go for the next slide? Regarding books of the governance, I'll say in the last 5 minutes what are the books we need to refer. Okay. So next, the same tabular column. Next, Next thing is solutions. Next thing is solutions for the same tabular column. What are problems we are facing in historical dimensions? We see some solutions. So what will be the best solution for honor killing, Kap Panchayats and everything? What is communal means? Based on religion and caste. That's called communal. Break. We'll finish off this first solution and go for a break. Law. First one is law enforcement. First one is law enforcement. There should be an effective law enforcement. That should need to be done. Then apart from this, long-term solution, what may be the best long-term solution? Education, that's correct. You need to focus on education. If you want to change the people, you need to change the education. So if you are able to educate the people again regarding all these things, they'll change it. Awareness, creating people awareness. And similarly, for example, creating helplines. So assume that you are a district collector. Sir, if possible, the background color as black, please. The white color looks very dull, sir. Okay, I'll just transform it. After the break, we'll have the blackboard. Helpline, for example, if we take helplines means, assume that you are a district collector, you create helplines for child marriages or for honor killings. For example, take child marriages. Can anyone say who is the first person to know that there's a child marriage? Who is the first person to know that there's a child marriage? Who is the first person to know it regarding child marriages? Parent is the culprit there, correct? Priest is one. Okay, apart from priest, local police doesn't know it. But who is the first person to know what is, especially neighbors, or most important thing is the friends of the particular girl child or boy child. They are the first one to know it. If you create proper awareness and create helpline, they can contact you and say that, sir, please understand there's a child marriage happening in a village. Come and rescue my friend. So create helplines and also focusing on awareness. So right now it's 12:30. Take 5 minutes break. After that, we can start the remaining ones. We go for the remaining topics after the break. Take 5 minutes break. Next, we go for a solution for political aspects. So we saw some of the problems in political system, colonization of politics or dynasty politics, communal politics. So what can be done? We are giving just general solutions. We are not very specific. One is we can relate with electoral reforms. So reforms in election process, correct? Can anyone say what is the recent area of electoral reforms in India? Recent area of electoral reforms in India. This can also be a mains question. So can you identify the recent areas of electoral reforms? One is electronic postal ballot is one. Just check this electronic postal ballot. Blockchain technology for voting. Then apart from this, anyone gone through the news article regarding One India, One Election? Just check this One India, One Election. That can be a mains question. One India, One Election. Okay. So electoral reforms, and similarly next thing is constitutional amendments. Constitutional amendments. We'll see all these things later. Constitutional amendments, changes in constitution. Similarly, judicial verdict. So all this have a biggest impact in political system. Please understand, political systems we are transforming. So One India, One Election, go and check what are the merits and demerits of it. That can be a mains question. One India, One Election. The next thing is social dimensions. What need to be done is, for example, one is communal harmony. So giving respect for all religion. Example is secularism. We are focusing on communal harmony. Next thing is for untouchability. Can anyone say what is the article number for untouchability? Abolition of untouchability. What is the article number? That's Article 17. Similarly, can you say what is Article 18 of Indian Constitution? Article 18. Article 18 of Indian Constitution. This is all prelims question. Go and check. Religious freedom, it's wrong. Article 18 of Indian Constitution regarding abolition of titles. Go and check what is Article 18 is. Similarly, for women related aspects, we have Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So all these are different schemes in India for focusing on girl child. Also women, all those things. So this is regarding social dimensions, and for economic dimensions, what are things? How many of you gone through a term called bad banks? It's recent current affairs, bad banks. Anyone gone through this term bad banks? I think 1 week before current affairs, RBI governor spoke about this term bad banks. Go and check what this bad banks means. It's regarding NPA crisis. Right now, government is coming out with this idea called bad bank for NPA crisis. Go and check what this bad bank is. So bad bank is one, and similarly, Make in India, creating employment opportunity, Make in India. So next thing is, for example, deficit. What we are doing is, for example, Act East policy. Act East policy is regarding current account deficit. We know current account deficit means when your import is more when compared with exports. To improve your exports, what government is doing is going for Act East. Act East means focusing on Asian economy. Because India's traditional player of export, where we export a lot as a country. Atmanirbhar Bharat is also correct. Okay, can you say which country we are traditionally export a lot? Either products or services, which country we export a lot? So always Western Europe and US. Act East policy, we are concentrating on Asian economy. Either it can be Thailand or Malaysia or Singapore. That's called Act East policy. Okay. The next thing is DCBT, direct cash benefit transfer, to minimize our expenditure. This is regarding fiscal deficit, minimizing expenditure, DCBT. GST is nothing but to improve our revenue. GST, to improve our revenue. So all these are some of the measures taken from economic perspective. To improve the economy of India, we are taking all these measures. right from bad banks to GST. Next thing is technology. What we are doing is, for example, BharatNet. What is BharatNet means? Connecting villages by optic fiber. We call it as BharatNet, or National Optic Fiber Network. Optic Fiber Network. National Optic Fiber Network, or BharatNet. Recently, what is the scheme of a government for this Wi-Fi and all? Anyone gone through that scheme? PM Vani, that's correct. And similarly, we have programs like Aspire programs. So all these are solutions for technological problems. My question is, for every problem in India, we have a solution. But why we are not able to reach the target? What are problem in reaching the target? Can anyone say? Why we are not able to reach the target? What are problem in reaching the targets? Capital is one. Implementation flaws, corruption, that's correct. Corruption is a problem. Then any other thing apart from this? Any other problems in India? Middleman is a problem. Corruption, middleman, you can relate it. Solution not implementing in ground level. Okay, we have a solution, but implementation is a problem. Okay, any other reasons? Practically, what may be the reasons? Corruption can be a practical reason. Because of corruption, nothing is properly implemented. Any other reasons why our solutions are not transforming into goals? We have a solution, but we can't reach it. What are other problems in that? So when you take all these things, when you boil down into one term, that's nothing but the problem of governance. We have a governance issue. So that is the reason we are not able to reach the goals. Okay. So I will start with what is this definition of governance. So it will be easy for you. So write down the definition of governance. One is given by World Bank. One is given by Kaufman. Once you finish, you put yes, so that I'll explain it. If you finish, you put yes, so that I'll explain the points here. In this definition, there are three important keywords. So first we'll start with authority. So to understand authority, assume that you are getting into IPS. What is the first posting in IPS? Last point in technology, Aspire. Aspire is a program right now in India. That name is also changed. Just check it. Aspire. So can anyone say, so what the first posting is an IPS officer? Please understand it's not SP. SP is based on promotion. So what the first posting is? ASP. Okay, Assistant Superintendent of Police. My question is, so what is the difference between you and Rowdy? Both are doing the same work. Is it correct? You also beat people, they also beat people, you kill people, they also kill people. But what is the difference between you and rowdy? Why people respects you when compared with rowdy? Yeah, okay, legitimate right, I have it, correct. Authority, I have it. Then apart from this, so it's nothing but what is authority means legal power. Authority means legal power. You are backed by the law. That's called legal power, correct? And that is the reason why people respect your uniform, because you are backed by the law and there is a law to support your actions, correct? This is one type of authority, legal power. Okay. There is another type of authority, what we call it as acceptance. So there are certain people in our society, they never want to stand in elections, they never want to write civil service examinations, but they are considered as authorities. Can you give examples like that? So they never stand in elections, they never write examinations, but people respect them as authorities. Who are the good examples for this? Right now, if we take present generation, who are the good examples like that? Pressure group is there, Periyar is there. Okay, apart from Periyar, you know Anna Hazare. Anna Hazare is a good example. Similarly, Gandhiji is a good example. All based on acceptance-based authority. Okay. Or another way of understanding is, right now, if you are a district collector, in your district, you may be a legal power, but there are some other authorities based on acceptance. Good example, if you go for northeastern states, who will be that acceptance-based authority in northeastern states? In northeastern states, who will be the acceptance-based authority? It's nothing but all the tribal leaders. So authority have two dimensions. One is legal power, another is acceptance. Okay. So the northeastern states, what we call as tribal leaders. Next thing is institutions. So when you say institutions, it will be divided as political, social, economic. So institutions can be political, social, economic institutions. Again, that can be divided into structure, process, and behavior. Most of the time, as a common man, we always relate institution means structures. But reality, institution also include process and behavior. We'll see an example for this. Take example of political institution. Political institution have structure, process, and behavior. So what is the example for this? Okay, take right now, assume that you are starting a party and you want to become a prime minister. Ultimately, where you want to reach to become a prime minister? Starting a party is not enough. That can be done by everyone. But where you need to reach to become a prime minister? Which institution you need to be there, then only you will be the prime minister. Which institution is that? Ultimately, you want to reach the parliament. So structure is nothing but Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So institution means one is structure, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Next thing is process. So can you say what is the importance of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in India? What they are doing in India, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? What is the primary role of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? Right now we are in the month of February, March. So what is the importance of parliament in India during the month of Feb and March? So lawmaking is one. Apart from lawmaking, budget. So what are the processes? Lawmaking and budget. So institution is also based on process, not only based on structures. Next thing is behavior. So what does this behavior means? My question is our MPs behaving properly, or what's your viewpoint on it? Behavior means how you respond. Is our MPs behaving properly as a people representative, or what they're doing? Your perception. Can you say what are the crimes our MPs are doing? Crimes. What are the least crime our MPs are doing? Any idea? Least crime? They are people representative. What are the least crime MPs are doing? Is that, sleeping in parliament? They'll sleep in the parliament. But the primary role in parliament is law making, budget passing, but they sleep there. Or not attending the session. Who's a good example of not attending the sessions? They are MP, but they'll not attend the sessions. Who's a good example for it? That is one famous personality in India, made as a Rajya Sabha MP, but he never attends the sessions. Good example is Sachin. Sachin is a good example for it. Never attend the sessions. Least crime. What is the extreme crime they are doing? What is the extreme crime? So what the extreme crime our MPs are doing? One is sleeping in the parliament, not attending the session. What is the extreme crime they're doing? Not only in parliament, assemblies and all, state assemblies, what they're doing? Extreme crimes. Violence, correct? They involve in violence, throwing mics and all those things. And apart from this, defection is one, correct? Not opposing the bad laws, that's correct. Then any other thing apart from this, what the extreme crime they're doing? Violence is a good example. Recently in Tamil Nadu it happened. Recently means 2 years before. And even watching videos, I don't know how many of you know, but it happened in Karnataka Assembly. When session was happening, they were watching porn video. But they never know there was CCTV camera behind them. So like that, all the extreme crimes are done. So behavior is the biggest problem in our system, correct? And a better way of understanding this is, most of the problems in our society is a behavioral problem. How we can say that thing is, assume that you want to get a driving license. If you say to your friend, I want to get a driving license, what the first suggestion friend always says is? You say to your friend that I want to get a driving license, what the first suggestion always the friend says is that they'll say that follow the rules and regulations, do a practice, all this thing they say. What the next thing our friend will always say is? He'll say that, okay, I'll give you a number, contact this person. He have a contact in RTO office. Give him some money, around 3,000, 4,000, you get a driving license. Please understand, in India, corruption is a behavioral problem. For a common man, government office means he always think that we need to give money. So that's a behavioral problem. So in India, most of the problems are behavioral problem. Okay. So when you say any institutions, structure, process and behavior, this play a major role. And finally, traditions. Tradition means values. Tradition means values. Example. Tradition means values. Example. Democracy. Example. Democracy. Democracy is the political value. Democracy is the political value in India. Similarly, for China, what is the political value in China? What is Chinese political value? What is Chinese political values? Communism. So, what is governance here is how you use your tradition and institution by which you make your decisions. So, ultimately, what is the focus of governance is? The objective of governance is welfare state. What is welfare state? Socio-economic development. Welfare state is nothing but socio-economic development. So governance ultimate focus is socio-economic development. For that, how decisions are made by use of tradition and institutions. That's called governance. Okay. Any clarification in this? Any doubts in this definition? Another definition is given by World Bank. Any one is enough? Any clarification or doubts in this? Okay, shall we go for the next one? If you put yes, we will go for the next one. Okay. So next one is features of governance. What are characters of governance? Right at the first point, I'll explain it. We go for the next one. Features of governance, government and beyond. Government and beyond. To understand what is government and beyond, take example of telecom sector. Who are the major players in telecom sector in India? Major players. So one is Jio is there, correct? Jio is a major player. Airtel is there, Vodafone is there, and BSNL is there. Similarly, take the example of banks. Can you list out what are the government banks in India? Government banks in India. Banks started by government. SBI is one, correct? Apart from SBI, for example, SBI, Punjab National Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, few examples. Indian private banks. Banks started by private players in India. Okay, RBI is a regulator. KVB is one. HDFC is a good example, correct? HDFC is a private bank in India. Axis Bank, ICICI is a good example. Similarly, foreign banks in India. What are foreign banks in India? Foreign banks. We have government bank, private bank and foreign bank. What are foreign banks? Citigroup, DSB, correct? For example, we have HSBC, Royal Bank of Scotland, Citigroup. These are a few examples. What is government and beyond means? For our socio-economic development in a society, we have government. Along with government, we have market. This is a governance term, market. In common man term, we call it as business. This can be a domestic player or this can be a foreign player. Domestic player or foreign player. Along with the market, we have civil society. Popularly, we call it as NGOs, non-governmental organizations. What is government and beyond means? For socio-economic development in a society, we have government, we have market. Market is nothing but business. It can be a domestic player or a foreign player. Example, HDFC, HSBC are good examples. The next thing is civil society. NGOs also play a role in socio-economic development. A good way of understanding this is, right now check in Google, Akshaya Patra. Check this in Google, Akshaya Patra. Where this NGO is working, can you identify that? Akshaya Patra, where this NGO is working, can you identify that? Please understand it's an NGO in Bangalore. What the primary focus of that NGO is? Working on midday meal scheme, correct? Please understand, midday meal scheme is a program of the government providing food for school children. And Akshaya Patra is an NGO working in that area. Expansion of NGOs, non-governmental organization. It's not part of government. So government and beyond means government is one player in development along with business and civil societies. I think you're able to understand this first point, correct? Second is power dependence between institutions. Write it down. Power dependence between institutions. What is power dependence means? My question is, why for development we need to have a government? Why we need to have a prime minister? Why we need to have a district collector for development? Cannot be done by Adani, Ambani or Tata. Why we need to have a government for development process? Can anyone say? For any socio-economic development of society, why we need to have a government? Equitable share, okay. Welfare motive, that's correct. Primary focus of government is public welfare. Why in development we need to have government? Public welfare. Example of public welfare. Take the concept of subsidy. We know for LPG cylinders, government is providing subsidy. If we allow private player, what the primary focus of private player is? Welfare or profit motive, which they give greater importance, private player. The private player's ultimate focus is making profit. But in India, you know that around 30% of population is under poverty. So they want to have some basic services and products. Take example of LPG cylinders. For BPL families, LPG cylinder is required because women can save a lot of time in cooking. They can focus on any other activities. That is the reason why government comes into picture and provides subsidies. So government need to be there. So one is public welfare. Next question is, If you take FDI investments, foreign direct investments, why it comes to India, not going to Afghanistan? Can you say why? Why FDI investments never goes to Afghanistan? Any reason behind this? Why people never want to invest in Afghanistan when compared with India? No proper government, stable government, government stability, peace, correct? So ultimately what this point is? Rule of law. If it is not visible, let's say to me. So why we need to have a government as rule of law? So government is responsible for establishing rule of law. Even in India, investment never goes to Nagaland when compared with Maharashtra. Because Nagaland, there is no rule of law. So rule of law is the domain of the government. Rule of law is the domain of the government. And finally, last one, basic infrastructures. Basic infrastructures. Government is responsible for creating basic infrastructures. No private player will invest the money for basic infrastructures. That will be created only by the government. Like road, electricity, ports. So all need to be taken care by the government. Basic infrastructure. For example, take bullet trains. No private player will invest the money because it takes longer time to finish off the project, get the revenue. So they doesn't want to invest money in there. So basic infrastructure need to be taken care by the government. Okay. I think you're able to understand what are the 3 points is. One is public welfare, rule of law, and basic infrastructure. Next thing is why market. So what is why market means? If you take mobile services, why we love Jio or Airtel rather than BSNL? Why we doesn't want BSNL? What may be the reason for this? Why we love Jio or Airtel? Higher quality, connectivity, services, correct? Connectivity, low cost, service efficiency, LTE availability, correct? One is new technologies. Market is responsible for new technologies. Whenever a new technology comes in the market, they introduce it. Example 5G, correct? Next thing is low cost. For any services, you will enjoy the best cost. Low cost of services, correct? Next thing is customer centric. Market is always customer centric. What does customer centric means? So take example right now in mobile phones, there's a concept called number portability. What is number portability means? With the same number, you move from one service provider to other service provider. Take example right now, you're in Airtel. You want to move to Jio. It takes 24 hours once you start the process. Within that time frame, what Airtel will do? Any idea what Airtel will do? Right now you are in Airtel, you want to move towards Jio. What the Airtel will do in that 24 hours? So what Airtel will do is, right now you are initiating number portability. Try to retain back. How they retain back? How they try to retain you back? Because Airtel is always focusing on customer. They call you and say that, sir, you are the golden customer or you are moving out. We provide you offers. And they want to make sure that you are happy, correct? My question is, if you are in BSNL, what BSNL will do? From BSNL, you are moving towards Jio. What BSNL will do? Is that BSNL will call you and say that you are the golden customer? Please understand, BSNL will never care about you, correct? Customer focus will not be there in government. Where we can see this, even if we take Air India versus Indigo. Indigo is a private player. Air India is a government player. For example, if you book a ticket, if flight is being delayed, what Indigo will do? What Indigo will do? The flight is being delayed. You are moving from place A to place B. You book a ticket in Indigo. What Indigo will do if there is a flight delay? So Indigo will call you, put a message, email you saying that there is a flight delay. Based on that, you plan your trip or you plan your schedules, correct? But what happens in Air India? Once you go to the airport only, you know that flight is being delayed. And they never respond to you. Customer centric will not be there in government, whereas market is entirely based on customer centric. Okay. So this is market. Next thing is why civil society or why NGOs. First one is grassroots presence. What is grassroots presence means? Right now we can see that NGOs working in slums, NGOs working in tribal areas, even where government cannot reach. So they have a grassroots presence, even reaching to the last person in the society. NGOs can do it. The next thing is people's trust. NGOs enjoy a greater people trust. Simple to say that. What about common man's view about politician? Is that common man think that politician is good or bad? Common man view about politician, is that good or bad? Does common man think that politician good or bad? Right now we know that common man always have a negative view about politician, correct? Similarly, market, they think businessman is only profit motive. But an NGO is highly respected by people and they have a greater trust. And last one is focus on left areas. What is focus on left areas means? There are certain areas where government will not focus, market will not focus, where NGOs comes and focus those areas. A good example is, take example of honor killing. What is the government reaction for honor killing? Whether government respects honor killing. They say that as a minister will respond for it, or what politician will do about honor killings. You are an SP, you go and say to the government, sir, in our district we have honor killings, we need to make some actions. What will be the reply of the local MLA and MP or ministers? Is that they say that, okay, we'll focus on it, or what will be the reaction of the political class for honor killings? What's your viewpoint on it? Please understand, regarding honor killing, politician will never bother. Why he'll never bother? We say to the minister or MLA, he say that leave it. Okay, it takes the natural course. We should not interfere. Screen is blurry. Okay, vote bank. Because of vote bank. That's correct. Is audio video clear for you? Is audio video clear for you? Video is blurred, video is not clear. Just wait a minute. Huh? Okay, just wait a minute, sir. There is some network issue. Last column, focus on left area, people's trust, grassroots presence. I'll share all my mail ID later. Last 5 minutes, I'll say the what is the source material, and I will share my mail ID. Is it clear right now? Video is clear? So you'll wait, just wait 5 minutes. They're working on it. Is my audio okay for you? Audio? Okay then. I'll just explain this point and we go for the next page. So what is this power dependence means? Right now we have three players. One is government, market and civil society. All these three need to work in tandem. Work in same direction. Then only development can happen. That's called power dependence. A good way of understanding this is, right now we have this GM crops, genetically modified crops. especially in agriculture. They want to introduce genetically modified crops. Out of the three players, who supported GM crops? Who supported GM crops? Out of the three players, government, market, civil society. Who supported GM crops? Government, market, or civil society? Government supported it because they want to improve the agriculture productivity. Market supported because of profit. But why civil society opposed it? Can anyone say why civil society opposed it? Especially NGOs opposed this GM crops. Can you say why? There are multiple reasons. One is not good for health. That's correct. Health impact was there because of GM crops. They doesn't support it. Then apart from this, environmental issues were there. That's correct. Then apart from this, farmers' security, because they want to depend upon corporates for seeds. They fear that future corporate will increase the price of seeds, so they want to avoid it. So here you can see that because lack of support from civil societies, there is no concept of GM crops. So power dependence means all need to work in tandem. Okay. Can I go for the next page? So can I go for the next page? Okay. And our next one is blurring of boundaries and responsibilities for socio-economic issues. So what is the blurring of boundaries means? Take the term security. Can you say what are prefixes you can attach to the term security? What are terms you can attach in front of security? One is internal security. Apart from internal security, national security is a common one. Okay, social security. Then right now we are in technological era. So what type of security is required in technological era? Cyber security, correct? So one is internal, one is social, cyber, food security. One such area is energy security. Please understand, energy security was considered to be the national security. If you want to achieve national security, energy security is important. So what is this third point is the year 1991. Can anyone say what is the importance of year 1991? So what is the importance of year 1991 to India? That's called LPG era. So before 1991, energy security was taken care by government like NTPC, NHPC. National Thermal Power Corporation, National Hydel Power Corporation, they were responsible for energy security in India before 1991. Right now in modern day India, after LPG era, you can see that the same area like NTPC, we have Tata Power, Reliance Power. So even in crucial areas of the society, private players are involved, like energy security or defense manufacturing. You can see that private players are involved. So that is the third point, blurring of boundaries. There is no such area called government and market and all. Even crucial areas like energy security, private players are involved. Even defense manufacturing. Right now, recently FDI policy for defense has changed. Defense manufacturing policies are changed for FDI. So all this you can relate with the third point. Third and fourth one is autonomous self-governing networks. When you say autonomous self-governing networks, it's nothing but role of regulators. Role of regulators. When you say regulators means, can you give examples? Who is the regulator for banking sector? Who is the regulator for banking sector? RBI, correct? Similarly, who is the regulator for capital markets? For share markets, who is the regulator for share markets? SEBI, correct? SEBI. Similarly, for telecom sector, we have TROI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Similarly, for real estates, Real Estate Regulatory Authority. So these are the role of regulator. Can you say what regulator does in our economic system? Regulators. What is the role of regulators in the economic system? So regulators are like umpires in sports activities. For example, take the game of cricket. So what is the role of umpire in the game of cricket? What umpire does there? So what is the role of umpire in cricket? Right now we have cricket matches happen, correct? Prevent foul play. Then apart from this, so what other things the umpire does in cricket matches? Right now one of the biggest achievement in Australia done by Indian cricket, correct? So the same role of an umpire is done by the regulators in a system. Okay, write down the role of regulator. So what the role of regulator, write it down. First one is role of regulators. What the first one is? To ensure fair play. To ensure fair play in the market. Ensure fair play in the market. Next thing is to resolve conflict among market players. To resolve conflict among market players. Recently, you can see that Jio and Airtel fought against each other. To resolve conflict among market players. Third one, to protect consumer rights. To protect consumer rights. In the market. So that's the role of regulators in our economic system. We have regulators in all areas. This is a major one. Banking, capital market, telecom sector. And finally, last one. Use of new tools and techniques by the government. For that, you can take the example of e-governance. That is, take example of e-passport. That is use of new tools and techniques by the government. So these are the features of governance. Use of new tools and techniques by the government. Shall we go for the next slide? If you put yes, we can go for the next slide. Okay. Next slide. We'll just see that and we'll stop with this. Okay, next slide is regarding measures of governance. How to measure governance in the society, that's given by World Bank. If you want to measure governance in a society as per World Bank, there are 6 indicators. Right on the first one, we'll finish off with that. That is voice and accountability. So what is voice and accountability means? It's based on rights. In a society, is that people enjoying rights? That's called voice and accountability. When you say rights means where we can relate the rights. Where we can relate the rights. When you say rights means where we can relate it. Right now, as per constitution, where we can relate the rights is so we can relate with fundamental rights, correct? So can anyone say why it is called as fundamental? We call it as fundamental rights. Why it is called fundamental? Don't put basic rights. Basic rights and fundamental rights are same. Why it is called as fundamental? Any reason behind it? Why it is called as fundamental? Your interpretation, why it is called as fundamental rights? What is fundamental? They are primary. For what reason they are primary? Basic requirement for a person to live happy life. Okay, that's correct. Why it's called as fundamental means an individual to enjoy a dignified life and democratic life. In India, if a person want to enjoy a dignified life and democratic life, we need to have fundamental rights. You will understand the point. So rights means there are 2 dimensions. One is fundamental rights and also DPSP. Directive principle of state policies includes socio-economic rights. If fundamental rights need to be extended in future, what Parliament need to do is they need to take it from DPSP. Recently, there's something happened like that. Take example of right to education. Initially, right to education was part of DPSP. Then later, it was transformed into fundamental rights. So when you say rights means not only fundamental rights, also we have in DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies. Okay. So these are the measures of governance. We'll stop with this. So remaining thing we'll see in the next class. I'll say the materials what we need to focus on for the preparations. One of the first material is from Government to Governance, Kuldeep Mathur. From Government to Governance, Kuldeep Mathur. A small book. My suggestion is you can buy this after your prelims for understanding the concepts. From Government to Governance, Kuldeep Mathur. You buy it after your prelims. Right now, it's not required for understanding concepts. If someone has already bought it, well and good. Or someone says that I bought Lakshmikant Governance. My suggestion is Lakshmikant Governance is a very exhaustive book. Based on current affairs, you read the Lakshmikant Governance because questions will be linked with current affairs. Institute material you can use until June. If you have an institute material, you can use it until June. After that, it's a very small book for understanding concepts. You can use it. This is the first source. Second one is second ARC reports. Second, Administrative Reforms Commission. ARC means Administrative Reforms Commission. And 5 reports is enough for our preparations, which we will discuss in the class. You doesn't need to put extra effort for reading the report. But if you are personally interested and if you got time, there are 15 reports. You doesn't need to read all the reports. If you have time, if you have interest, you go and check summary of recommendation every report. Summary of recommendation. Because each report is around 200 pages. It takes 1 year to study. You doesn't need to read all those things for UPSC. There will be a title called Summary of Recommendation in that reports. Summary of Recommendations. It will be around 3 to 4 pages. You can use that for your preparations, which is not required. If you are interested, I want to write some other points in some other areas, or I want to use it effectively in interviews, you can use that points, but it's not required. 5 reports, we'll deal it in the class itself. I'll just say when the report starts in the class. That is enough because anything you read, that's for 15 or 20 marks at the maximum. 7 to 8 points is enough to write the answers. Finally, last one is newspaper. So this is the source for governance. Newspaper, second ARC, from government to governance. How to prepare? Do it in the reverse direction. Newspaper is important because questions are linked with newspapers. Second ARC report, we'll deal it in the class. And after prelims, just go for Kuldeep Mathur. So any clarification? Okay, any clarification? And please understand, marriage is not a biggest factor in UPSC. Someone is asking about marriage aspects. It's not a big problem. It's not a big issue. Okay. They will not take that into consideration at all. So don't get bothered. Focus on your preparation. If you are eligible, you can start your preparations. Your background history is not important for UPSC. Okay. Any clarifications or any doubts? You are able to understand the classes? That you are able to understand the classes. Any clarification or doubts? You can ask any clarifications or doubts. Is that classes are understandable for you? How to find governance news in newspaper? I said that governance is linked with polity, correct? Constitution. When you're reading constitution, be conscious how we can relate with governance. Once the topic is over for governance, you can easily identify it. Don't get bothered. There is no extra preparation for governance. What you study with polity, you can relate it. Okay then. Shall we wind off the session? If you put yes, we can wind off if there is no doubt. How many classes for governance? Probably around 7 to 8 classes. Probably around 7 to 8 classes we have a governance sessions. Can we wind off the session? If you put yes, we can wind off. Okay then. Thank you. We meet later. See the remaining aspect of governance.